Okay, I'm Libby Skaggs.
I'm Mike Skaggs. We've been married 20 years, just this coming July, so coming up on a big anniversary. We have 4 kids, Carter, Abigail, Dylan, and Hudson. This is actually marking my 23rd year of working with teenagers. I've been in schools for pushing 20 years, 13 years in an administrative role. So I've seen kids in youth ministry positions. I've been a teacher. I've been an administrator. So I've seen kids in lots of different places, at churches and schools primarily. The 2 biggest influences that I can see that have changed the culture, and the culture is radically different from when I began working with teenagers back in the early 90s. Technology, an incredible impact upon teenagers today, upon families today. The level of connectivity that our kids have, there's never any downtime. Social networking has had tremendous positive potential and some positive impact, but primarily I see that as, to be honest, being detrimental in lots of ways to kids in terms of their relationships with one another. There's so much relating that used to happen face to face that now happens behind the mask of a cell phone or a computer, and it's constant. It's 24/7, and if you feel something, it's almost expected that you project that feeling out to the world, oftentimes without having had the time that you and I might have had to take a step back and to take a deep breath and to think through it. And it's very difficult for kids today to recognize any other way of relating than through that technology. So I would say technology is probably one of the biggest game changers that I've seen. The other thing that I see that's so different from when I even began working with teenagers in a church setting, certainly I'm seeing it in schools today, but radically different from when I was a kid, is the way that parents parent their children. There is a level of involvement that can become unhealthy at times. We've all heard the term helicopter parents, and that's an easy label to give. And some parents are happy to wear that label because there's a sense of involvement, and that's okay. I think that there's a fine line that parents have to recognize, though, and it varies from kid to kid. It varies from situation to situation, but that level of involvement can really create in a student a sense of inability to manage things on their own because mom or dad's going to fix it. And I see that again and again. What I fear is that we've got a generation that is incapable of handling things on their own and learning how to manage relationships rightly, manage challenges rightly, learning how to grow up and become men and women free from mom and dad, because moms and dads are so involved. You need involvement, but there has to be that recognition of that season when a young man or a young woman has to stand on his or her own 2 feet, morally, socially, academically, in all forms of life. And I see that as a big difference between the current time and the time when I began working with teenagers.